Six Nations round number 2, folks. Calcutta Cup action. Scotland are under a heap of pressure, with last week's loss to the Italians, which essentially skittled their campaign before it got started, barring some massive performances. They are down to 10th in the world, which drops them below the Italians, whereas England, flying high, highest ranked of the Six Nations side in 3rd in the world, top of the Six Nations currently with their big win over the Welsh. But the win over the Welsh, they left some points out there, the English guys, so potentially a chance to get things warmed up a little bit. They will certainly need to be at a higher level than they were against Wales and, be a bit more clinical, one would say, to keep old sexy Steve happy. But, they've been playing some good rugby, have England, and that's why they are on the winning run that they're on. Can Scotland spoil that? Well, they would love to. It might take a bit of the pressure off Gregor, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll go through the squads which have been announced, some of the changes, some of the stats, particularly the pertinent ones from last week for the teams and the individuals, the recent history between the sides, predictions. You guys can let us know your thoughts, whether the Scots bounce back or the English juggernaut continues on a rollin'. The Scots have made some changes in the forward pack. I get the feeling Gregor wasn't that happy with the set piece last week, and neither should he be. So the scrum was under pressure, and the line-out was atrocious. The guys who pay the price, front row sees Macbeth and Turner come in from their bench roles to start. So Ashman has gone completely, and Cherry is into the squad on the bench, and Pierce Schoolman is dropped to the bench for this one. Xander Vegason still keeps his spot, and then Gregor Brown promoted from the bench at the expense of Gilchrist, who is out of the 23. Cummings is still there. Them and the loose forwards, Jamie Ritchie, Rory Darge, and Jack Dempsey, will 100% need to be 100% better at set piece. Their line-out last week was on, 74% or something crazy? You can't be losing a quarter of your ball. I don't care about the conditions. I know the conditions were bad, but the Italians was at like 90-something percent, 95? In the same conditions, the Italian line-out was fine. The Scots were all over the shop. And the scrum was under a lot of pressure as well. So they need an absolute rev up, and they need a bigger performance this week. I mean, Gregor did talk up Nathan Macbeth, saying he played well from the bench and the set piece got better in the second half. Well, they need that from the opening whistle. Jamie Ritchie coming in, I think, is a bit of a good news one. He's really high work rate alongside Rory Darge, should get through a few tackles, compete at the breakdown. He'll be a little bit on the edge. He might concede a penalty or two, but if he can win some turnover ball, put the English guys under pressure at the breakdown, like I mentioned, and then get Jack Dempsey just getting the go-forward ball, because that's the other area they struggled. Like, he had, 58 metres? Last week against Italy, which was the top Scottish run meter man, like even more than the fullback, who usually gets a few free ones. That was Jack Dempsey, the only guy really able to get some punch. It was so torrential, it's hard to judge the backline too harshly, but yeah, the forwards had a really low penetration rate against the Italians, like not getting over the advantage line, static ball. They'll need more than just Jack Dempsey doing that, but he'll be leading the way. The backline's the same. Ben White, Finn Russell, what can they do if the weather conditions are a bit better? Hopefully get the back line humming. Sione Tupulotu, Hugh Jones, Kyle Stain, Jamie Dobby, and Tom Jordan. It's hard to comment too much about them from last week because we just didn't see them that much in action. The weather conditions were just not that conducive to it. You might have thought that Gregor pulls the trigger on some of the kind of more traditional guys. Get in old Duhan, who always plays well against England, or bring in Darcy Graham to start. He's still on the bench. Kinghorn still not selected. So, yeah, he's got faith in the guys to potentially, with a bit drier ball, actually do something with it in this game. Cherry, as I mentioned, comes in. He's the only change of the front row replacements, along with Schoolman dropping down to the bench. Miller Mills is still there. Max Williamson's still there. Matt Fagerson drops to the bench as well. Gregor talked about him being able to play 6, 7, and 8, so maybe he pays a little bit of the price for his versatility, meaning he can cover the entire back row. And then it's still the 3 backs. He's got George Horn, Adam Hastings, and Darcy Graham. He didn't even use Adam Hastings last week. Didn't even use him. Just chuck another loose forward on the bench. You got Jamie Dobby, who covers 9 and wing. So you could just go Ben White the whole game. I don't know. I like George Horn as an impact sub. I thought he was actually quite good. Hugh Jones is very versatile. He can cover many different positions. So if Tom Jordan covers half the bloody back line, you've got guys there versatile enough to do that. I don't know. Unless you're going to play Adam early, I don't know that you need him on the bench. what can I say? I've never been a big proponent of a 6-2, but I feel like a 6-2 could do the Scots a bit of a favour here. But yeah. For England, there's a bit of a, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, set of selections here, which is 100%, I think, the right thing to do for Coach Steve Borthwick. Ellis Genge, he gave away a couple of silly penalties last week, so maybe he was a man who could have been benched for this one, but he continues to start. Cowan-Dickie gets a start ahead of George, who was captain last week with Itoje on the bench, so it's kind of an indirect swap with Itoje back starting, meaning George can continue or go back to his role of riding the pine, and then Joe Hayes. So starting props are the same, just the swap at hooker, and then Itoje back starting as captain. That's always going to be good news for England. He did give away a yellow card straight away as he came on last week, but that was more about the team than him in particular. Chesham was outstanding last week. Gee, how many tackles did he make? 13. Had a bunch of run meters. The guy was everywhere. Line-out champion. He's going to be a key man for the Scots to shut down because he was immense. And in the back row as well, equally impressive. Guy Pepper, Sam Underhill, and Ben Earl. Those guys complement each other really well. Underhill was putting in big dominant hits. Ben Earl was everywhere. High tackle count, high carry count, scored a try. And then Pepper had a massive tackle count as well. He had 15. 15 tackles. He was the top tackler of the game. Earl had like 13. So there's a heap of tackles, a heap of work rate in that English back row, which when you combine it with their astute kicking game, it does work out really well. The back line is unchanged. Alex Mitchell, George Ford. George Ford kicked like 26 times last week. He is just able to put teams under pressure. And as I said, when you got ferocious forwards chasing those kicks, good things happen for you. Fraser Dingwall, Tommy Freeman continue on in the midfield. Freeman busted like 7 tackles last week, but I didn't count the split from midfield to wing because he did shift to the wing towards the end of the game. Dingwall set up a couple of tries, was just quietly going under the radar as one of the better performers too. Henry Arundel got that hat-trick. He is pure speed. If they can get him into some space. Tom Roebuck, who was the late change, continues on. He'll be chasing some high balls. And then Freddie Stewart there at fullback too has just kind of also quietly reclaimed that fullback spot, which was not his for a wee while. It was, and then it wasn't. Now it seems to be back being his. George, like I mentioned, drops to the bench. Bevan Rod and Trevor Davison unchanged as the prop replacements. Alex Coles has to drop to the bench with Maro getting the start. Tom Curry, don't be a, I was going to use a swear word there. Don't be silly and get yourself carded when you first come off the bench. I know you want to make an impact, but do it the right way. Henry Pollock, another kind of super sub from the bench because they've got the 2 loose forwards there. Ben Spencer and then Finn Smith. So just the 2 backs on the bench. No Marcus this week. So it is a swap of Smiths. Very stable from Coach Borthwick. Stats, if you're a Scottish fan, maybe look away now. 154 carries against the Italians and not a line break among them. I know it was wet, but the Italians made 5 from way fewer carries than that. And their line out at 74%, as I said, was just awful. These things need to be much better. Weirdly enough, their turnovers coughed up, despite the rain, was actually the lowest of the teams this week. So, yeah, there's at least a positive to be drawn from that. But surely the Scottish attack can't be kept that quiet again. And it's such a weird one that it's the rain that is blamed for keeping their attack as quiet as it was. Because it rains a fair bit in Scotland, as far as I'm aware. England, on the flip side, 12 line breaks against Wales, which is a fair few, and 42 kicks from hand is the most of the week. Steve's side still do kick a lot, but they're getting the other elements of the game to complement that kicking game as well. So I won't hear any more of the boring Borthwick stuff. It's Sexy Steve from now on. He won't be happy with a couple of yellow cards they got last week, though, if they are looking to see improvements in particular areas stats-wise. Recent history, I mentioned it goes with the Scots. Well, the most recent game is 2025's English win, 16-15. That was a close one. Then the previous 4, 24, 23, 22, and 2021, these are all Scottish wins. They're largely pretty close games. Like, you don't see double-digit wins, 11-6, 20-17, 29-23, 30-21. They're all reasonably close games, which bodes well for the kind of rivalry between these sides, although trajectory-wise, they're on kind of different paths at the moment. With England, as I said, really on the rise in the last 12 months, whereas Scotland have really stuttered and stumbled through their last 12 months. Can they raise their game for England? They tend to. The average score across the last 5 is 21-17 to the Scots, but they do go into this one as underdogs at home. England by 5 says the algorithm, and England by 8 say the bookies. So still, the predictions are within 10 points. Scottish home advantage, got to have a factor in that. It is on Saturday, Valentine's Day. Be a nice Valentine for either coach to get a win in this one. 4:40 local kickoff, which I think is, what is that, 5:40 for me in the morning? It's pretty early, but I'll have been up to watch the earlier game anyway, so doesn't make much of a difference. I'll be a bit bleary-eyed, but fingers crossed it's a good game. Georgian Nika Umashukeli is the ref. Hopefully he has a good game. You guys let us know your thoughts. Do you see the Scots raising their game, or do the English keep their winning run going on? If you want supporters gear for Six Nations teams, check the Six Nations store down in the description. They're an affiliate of the channel. Get yourself some official merch from the Six Nations teams, jackets and jerseys and all that kind of stuff. I'm an appreciator of rugby gear myself, so if you use the link down there, it tells them 2 cents sent you, so it helps me out as well. You guys take care, let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.